Hello and welcome to National Focus. I'm your presenter, Mervin. Thank you for joining us. Coming up, port charges have been waived for aid entering the country. The Dominica Red Cross in high gear post Tropical Storm Erika, and aid continues to reach affected communities. Details of our headline stories and others after this. Thank you for staying with us. The government of Dominica has declared Thursday, September 3rd and Friday, September 4, 2015 as National Days of Mourning in the wake of devastation caused by Tropical Storm Erika. All flags will be flown at half-staff on all public buildings on both days. His Excellency the President of Dominica, Charles Savra, will deliver an address to the nation on Thursday. National Days of Prayer will be held on Saturday, September 5th and Sunday, September 6th. Activities related to National Days of Prayer will be held at the local community level as a result of reduced access associated with the passage of Erika. A National Day of Prayer message from government will be read at all churches on the respective days. Those declarations are intended to honor lives lost as well as to offer thanksgiving. The Honorable Prime Minister has announced that charges have been waived for relief aid entering Dominica's ports. On Tuesday evening, Prime Minister Skerrit said that once the aid is consigned to the state or to individual persons or organizations, the port fees will be waived.
The customs have been facilitating the entry and clearance into Dominica, all items that are for relief purposes. Now, one does not expect you to send a flat screen TV to someone and expect it to be duty-free. That in a disaster is not for relief. I mean, this is for other things. So once it is food items, toiletries, clothing, that are all earmarked for your family, for a friend, to the Red Cross, to a village council, to a local authority. You know, it is not fetching duty.
There is also no limit to the value of the aid being sent into Dominica. 5 days after the passage of Tropical Storm Erika, relief distribution efforts continue across the country. At the helm of the relief efforts is the Food and General Supplies Subcommittee of the National Emergency Planning Organization, NEPO. The chair of that committee, Gregory Thomas, says most of the affected areas have received relief supplies.
In the very early stages, we will be challenged with regards to access to some of the communities, because we depended on helicopter lift to get us to some of the communities. That has been a problem, but the fact that we have now created access, road access to most communities, it will make our task of distributing food to the affected areas much easier. I believe to date most areas can be accessed by road.
Efforts are also being made to improve the organizational structure in place for the distribution of relief supplies.
In the area of transportation and distribution, we have seen the need for better liaison, better connection, coordination between what we do at the Food and General Supply Subcommittee and getting the products, the commodities to the communities. So we have persons in place right now who will take charge, take responsibility for making that link, that liaison, to coordinate the deliveries that we have already prepared for the communities to get them to the communities. To date, most of what we have done in terms of distribution, most of the supplies have been sourced locally. So a lot of the supplies we have received from the merchants locally, and some of that we have purchased. In fact, some have been donations and some we have purchased. But in the next few days, in the next few weeks, we are going to be receiving quite a bit of supplies from overseas. So here we have to put systems in place for receiving the goods that would be coming from overseas.
Relief supplies from Martinique arrived on the island on Wednesday. GIS News was at the Roseau Fisheries Complex when the supplies arrived on 10 speedboats. Honorable Minister for Trade Ian Douglas welcomed the French donors.
All of this stuff is being offloaded onto the wharf, and then we will distribute the stuff, some to go to, like I said, the more affected areas, the families from Petit Savan who are at the grammar school, persons in Cooley District, Salisbury, Collyho, Jubla, Bioche, those areas that are in dire need of the supplies that have arrived.
Zephyrin Roy told GIS News that the over 9 tons of goods donated include first aid supplies, water, food and hygiene products.
When we heard about the what happened in Dominica after the passing of the storm, there were a couple of people in Martinique who started this initiative to bring quick aid to the people in Dominica. I myself was on vacation on Friday. When I came, as soon as I heard about it, I got involved because it's a group of people that I know, just individuals who wanted to help, and they worked in association with different organizations to bring people together, to get the boats, to get people to give donations to bring to Dominica.
Meantime, the Caribbean Federation of Police Welfare Associations has donated relief supplies to police officers and their immediate relatives who were affected by the storm. The supplies arrived at the Kingsfield Airport on Wednesday. GIS News spoke with the chairman of the Police Welfare Association.
So we want to thank, particularly today, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force for sending some relief to police officers and the family in terms of clothing, canned goods, dry goods and water. So we want to say thank you from the executive and members of the Police Welfare Association for what the Federation have done in assisting us in Dominica.
The British Virgin Islands Nurses Association also donated relief supplies to the Dominica Nurses Association on Wednesday. Noelyn Levens-Clark is the Vice President of the BVI Nurses Association.
What we brought were mainly medical supplies, food items, clothing, and water.
Okay. So how are you all going to bring...
And toiletries.
And toiletries,
yes.
Okay.
What we did in the BVI was to separate packages according to the 7 health districts. The nurses who are in charge at each health district will be responsible for distribution to where need is greatest, yes. The nurses themselves will be receiving care packages and they can decide, because nurses know their communities, they know where the need is greatest, yes.
Treasurer of the Dominica Nurses Association, Mignon Roll Schlingford, is particularly pleased that the BVI nurses will use their expertise to assist those affected by Tropical Storm Erika.
We are skilled in training of dialysis, emergency room nursing, community nursing, and we also have a public health nurse among the few. So apart from that, they are bringing in the supplies. They also brought their skills that they will be reporting to the matron in the hospital after we leave here to be assigned to the different areas of need.
The Dominica Red Cross is playing its part in rebuilding the country. Following the passage of Tropical Storm Erika, the Red Cross has provided damage and needs assessments to the areas that were accessible. Director General of the Dominica Red Cross, Kathleen Peanut-Byrne, says the work of the organization continues.
Following the passage of Tropical Storm Erika, we went out very early the following day to do a visual inspection to ascertain the extent of damage, so that we would have some indication as to whether we needed to look to bringing in external assistance to cope with this event. Having deemed that was necessary, we requested PANTRU, which is the Pan American Disaster Response Unit, an arm of the Federation, as well as a good partner of the Red Cross here, the French Red Cross of Pirac, to come in and provide assistance. We have 4 delegates presently on island assisting us in drawing up a work plan and preparing a DREF, a Disaster Response Emergency Fund appeal for response efforts here.
With most parts of the country being affected by severe flooding, a water filtration plant arrived on island from the French Red Cross on Tuesday to assist in the water needs of residents.
This mobile plant will enable, if working sort of 24 hours, it can provide potable water for 4,500 persons. We had a discussion with DOASCO to ascertain which communities, which areas are likely to be delayed in having the reconnection of potable water. And the first place that was mentioned was Granby. So the likelihood is that we will put this mobile plant in Granby, and this will be a collaborative effort between Red Cross and DOASCO, where we'll train Red Cross volunteers, DOASCO workers, so that we can have this plant up and running in the next few days. And this plant, of course, will remain available for future events, and in between, you know, disasters, if the WASCO has need for the use of this plant, if something should happen, then it's already available and on island for their use.
At the request of the Honorable Prime Minister, the Red Cross has been paying particular attention to the evacuees from Petit Savan, where tremendous loss of life occurred.
This group of persons will be given particular attention in terms of feeding, providing, you know, food, even for those who are staying with relatives. They're going to need additional food items, but looking towards a longer-term relocation process for these persons, if they opt to remain someplace other than going back to Petit Savan. So in that respect, we have spoken with OFTA USAID, who will provide funding to Red Cross to facilitate this process.
To date, the Dominica Red Cross has given out 1,000 jerrycans of water holding 5 liters each, 840 liters of water, 50 hygiene kits, clothing and food parcels. The organization is thankful for the many volunteers who have come out to assist in the relief efforts and asks employers to allow their employees time to assist in that process. And finally, this news time, Najiko group of companies in the Caribbean has pledged $75,000 worth of food vouchers to assist families affected by Tropical Storm Erika.
They have identified 3 of the supermarkets here in Dominica, and they have actually printed those food vouchers of $100 each and asked us whether we could identify persons who would be in need of those food vouchers. It's they said that they're prepared to give further donations, but the $75,000 would be at least for 6 months in the first instance, and at $100 each, but not restricted to $100 per family, but families and individuals we identify who would be in need. And we have already started a process of identifying persons in the critically affected areas. So while there may be persons in shelters and persons in the homes of individuals, there are other persons in the communities who have been affected tremendously, and assessments have been done through a team of assessors on the ground to identify those persons. And so as we identify those persons we need, very likely some of them would qualify for this $100 food vouchers.
The Welfare Subcommittee has been given the task of identifying persons eligible for those vouchers. Meantime, Surgical Life in St. Lucia has also contributed to the relief efforts in Dominica. Assistant General Manager of Wilshire Services Agency, the Agents for Surgical Life, Brenton Hillier, explains.
We have bought 4 pallets of water, various necessities, things like canned goods, diapers, sanitary napkins for women, things like that they believe persons will need during this crisis. And they said it for our office in Dominica. We're going to work with the local authorities to help distribute these items to areas that are in need of them.
And that's the English news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, le gouvernement Dominique a tapé assistance hot pays ou la terre, a dans effort assister les gens qui affectés sinon mauvais temps Erika, qui bien dommage pays là. Communauté déjà reçu bagaille contre l'eau, manger et puis médicaments. On bateau Venezuela déjà en pays là, car assister aussi un hélicoptère qui a changé bagaille ou la voiture passe à aller. On parole qui sorti car aussi dit que mon l'autre pays qui voulait voyer bagaille supposé voyer Commonwealth of Dominica Relief Aid en charge monsieur Grégoire Thomas d'Exia Wozo à Dominique. En même temps, plusieurs monde qui affecté en Tissavan déjà évacué pour l'occasion en Wozo et puis d'autres l'occasion qui part en West. À la nouvelle, une délégation Banque Latin en pays là à présent, qui a conduit assessment sur le mauvais temps Erika, qui bien dommagé Dominique. Premier ministre Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt fait parole que délégation là déjà actuellement commencé assessment ailleurs. On a délégation sur le premier ministre Skerritt qui est arrivé en pays la semaine prochaine. Banque Latin a aussi une discussion et puis institution l'argent international con IMF, Banque Développement Caraïbe en parmi d'autres à ses comptes gouvernement Dominique. Et puis, le ministère de l'Éducation a fait parole qui a déjà conduit assessment 75 l'école tout mon pays là. Parole ça là sorti au ministère de l'Éducation, Honorable Peter Saint-Jean. C'est l'homme ministre Saint-Jean. Le ministère de l'Éducation prend décision pour envoyer date l'école est supposée ouverte. Plaisir c'est l'école là con Dominica Grammar School, l'école primaire Wozo ensemble et puis Sagouan B, qui a servi comme l'occasion pour cacher les gens qui sont affectés par dommage Erika. Ministre Saint-Jean a aussi demandé teacher pour aller en l'école à holiday pour le 4 septembre pour nettoyer. Et aussi qu'a créé à ce public là pour coûter annoncement hors ministre là. Ministre là qu'a créé à ce monde pour waiting fort en temps challenge salam et puis travail pour oui bâtir pays là. Et puis finalement organisation Red Cross Dominica je pas ailleurs oui bâtir pays si l'on mauvais temps Erika. Si l'on directeur organisation la Kathleen Pinat Burn travail organisation là qu'a continué. Ça fait où la plusieurs occasions en Dominique bien affectée par de l'eau, des liges. Red Cross recevait une machine sans filtration plant, hors à pays forcé, qui servent pour bamoun de l'eau ou la qui panne. Red Cross a aussi joué par ailleurs assisté Wizina Tissavan, qui tape mauvais blast hors courtant Erika. Il y a aussi bien plaisir pour quantité volontaire qui assistent et puis travail ailleurs. Red Cross aussi a créé à ces places qui a employé monde pour quitter le travail à assister et puis il faut pour oui bâtir pays là. Mais c'est mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelle en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Au revoir.
Before we leave, here's one announcement. It has been brought to the attention of the necessary authorities that diesel and batteries used to power cell sites are being stolen. Residents should note that such practices hinder the process of returning telecommunication services to affected communities. The National Reconstruction Advisory Committee, through the offices of the National Emergency Operations Center, therefore asks that such practices are immediately discontinued so as to ensure the speedy return of phone services to all communities. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website at news.gov.dm. You can like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica, and follow our Twitter at GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. From all of us here on the GIS News production team, I'm Mervin. Thanks for watching and join us again next time on National Focus.